Welcome to another edition of the 49er Goldcast.
San Francisco, are you ready? Bam! Welcome to another edition of the 49er Goldcast. This is the Bay Area fan perspective. I'm your host, Rudy Solis III, and with me is my brother, my co-host,
Raymond Solis I, baby.
And our esteemed co-host,
Old Man Davis.
Boom! Gentlemen, week 9 is in the books, and it's a win. And Raymond, you know what that means when it's a win.
That means we celebrate for the first time in 3 or 4 weeks. I can't even remember how long it's been.
You need to watch TV. I blazed a blunt.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a win on our hands. Thank the heavens. I'd like to first thank God because he clearly was behind the entire success of the 49ers, as he is every week. Falcons versus the 49ers. First quarter, San Francisco would get the opening kickoff. However, things didn't start cooking until their third possession. 3rd and 6 on their own 20-yard line. Gabbert takes the snap and rolls to his right. Pressure in pursuit. Throws a dart on the run, and Quentin Patton makes the catch in stride. Still going, cutting up field into Atlanta territory, and finally sliding out of bounds at the Atlanta 39. A 34-yard run to cap a 41-yard gain. That drive, however, would stall, moving on to the second quarter. 4th possession for the Niners. Gabbert from center fakes the handoff. Gabbert looks, throws to the end zone. Touchdown to a wide-open Garrett Sellett. Dawson would punch in the extra point. The Niners up 7-3 for the half. Dawson would nail a 44-yard field goal before putting together a third scoring drive in before the half. 3rd and 6 on the Atlanta 11. Gabbert from the gun. Looks over the middle, throws again, and there's Sellett in the end zone. Another perfect throw. Touchdown 49ers. A perfectly thrown ball on the inside seam of tight coverage. Dawson nails the point after. Niners with the lead at the half, 17-6. And technically, that would be the final score. That would be the last bit of points San Francisco would put up. They would get shut out in the second half. The Falcons would put 10 more points, but it would not be enough to overtake the Niners with some big stops on the defensive side of the ball, including a fourth quarter sack on Matt Ryan, courtesy of Navarro Bowman. Marcus Cromartie, promoted from the practice squad, citing injuries to Brock Acker and Reeser, also shined in his debut, keeping Julio Jones out of the touchdown reception column. He also led the team in tackles, including 2 for a loss, and had a pass deflection. Dante Johnson also completely shut down Roddy White, who only had 1 catch for 20 yards, and also denied Julio Jones in the end zone with a pass deflection. Cromartie, Bowman, and Johnson led the defense in tackles, and this was kind of the standout performance. I know we're going to get into Blaine Gabbert here, but for me, I've got to really hand it to the defense because as opposed to what we've seen in the offense, the defense actually gets incrementally better each week. And I saw some adjustments made from Eric Mangini that really stood out to me. It seemed like he really simplified the plan. He knew that he had second-year man Dante Johnson going up there, and he had Marcus Cromartie, who's a rookie. These are guys that don't see as many snaps as the starters do and really don't know the system, but they don't get the same amount of reps that the first team does. So it seemed like he simplified. He said, we're going to go away from the zone coverage and stick to man coverage, which seemed to be much more effective against what is a top 10 offense in the NFL. And it wasn't like on the other side of the ball where the Niners look better offensively, but part of that is attributed to the fact that the Falcons' defense is not very good. And you could say the same thing when we play the Vikings and the Ravens. So I give a lot of credit to the defense side of the ball. However, despite what I said about the offense, that does not take away from the fact that Gabbert did have a good game.
All I know is we got the victory today. Whatever 11 guys we march out on the field, we're going to go up there and expect a victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's good that you said that. The defense has been underrated, I feel, the entire season. Would you agree with that?
It's easy to kind of point the finger at them because their biggest flaw, which is really something that gets cleaned up with experience and sort of refining the system, is giving up those big plays, which they did again today. However, it wasn't the big play that would seal the fate for the final score, going against the Niners. In this case, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, and I think that this is something we talked about last week, was that the second half adjustments made by Mangini and the defense always seem to be very strong. It's just that, but they just tend to give up a lot of points in the first half of these games, and they dig too big of a hole for that lackluster offense to climb out of. And that's something we've consistently seen. But this week, it seemed like they really, really zeroed in. I think they heard our Goldcast Goldcast. I think Mangini must have heard the Goldcast. And
they did something. They did two things differently. Number one, they went back to the blitz. And number two, they decided to go with more man coverage than zone coverage. And I think that made things a lot easier for the secondary to anticipate. And the results speak for themselves. Like I said before, this is a top 10 offense, one of the top offenses in all of the NFL, with 2 all-pro wide receivers that Matt Ryan throws to, including the number 1 rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, it was very, very impressive. Real quick, why does Navarro Bowman look like a bum in the press conference? He looks homeless.
Well, he's sweating. He's got a beanie on. His jacket, I think, it looks nice. It's got some kind of weird discoloration in the lower half. He's got a beard. He hasn't shaved, obviously, in a while. Looks like he's sweating, so he clearly hasn't showered. I'm just not sure what's going on with Bowman right now.
He is so Bay Area.
Don't give me no Bammer weed.
Yes.
I feel like they found him off the street, like you were saying, Rand. They go, hey, you bum. You want to make some money? Yeah, I want to make some money. Well,
Hey, you want to play for us today? We're short. We've got a lot of injuries.
a lot of injuries right now.
Rocky, got anything derogatory to say about the champ?
You want to play football? Well, I don't know what that is.
I ain't dumb, I got maybe a slow head, they call it, but I ain't dumb,
Let's get into the quarterback that Old Man Davis all year has been saying was going to get this opportunity.
Blaine Gabbert
accurately called this during the preseason, and now in week 9,
Blaine Gabbert.
Old Man Davis's preseason prediction comes to fruition. Old Man Davis, what did you think about Blaine Gabbert?
It's a prophet, eh?
I'm not feeling well at all today, guys. I'm sorry if
that wasn't obvious.
Sorry I can't speak immediately on what you had just said. I'm traveling back from Pittsburgh this evening, and it hurts. You see a win so close you can touch it, you can feel it, but then it vanishes within seconds. So we're gonna look at tape in the morning and see what went right, what went wrong, make our corrections and get ready for the upcoming game against the Vikings. Let's talk about BG, Blaine Gabbert. Congratulations, Mr. Blaine Gabbert. 10 straight losses as a quarterback starter. He comes away with a win. Congratulations to the 49ers personnel, especially that 49ers secondary. Congratulations, most of all, to the fans. A lot of fire, a lot of energy, a lot of grit, a lot of passion. Number 2, not as athletic as number 7, but played in the pocket nicely, got rid of the ball quickly, had those moments using his legs to get past that line of scrimmage. I mean, this is a quarterback I've told on this Goldcast numerous times, watch out. Watch out. Number 2, you want to come and play some real football? Put on that helmet and lace up them shoes. This quarterback defined himself today, not only leading his team to victory, but also after all the doubts, all the criticism as a draft bust, failed experiment as a run-and-shoot style quarterback out of Missouri. He gave new life to a 49ers team on the verge of implosion.
He did. You're right.
He certainly has a faster release, which is something that this offense desperately needs in order to help compensate for the lack of pass protection.
Yes.
He found his targets. Torrey Smith, they weren't perfect passes all the time, but if it wasn't, it was Quentin Patton. This was a very well-matched game. The Falcons were very much in this game to the end, and they could have put it away had head coach Dan Quinn taken a chance for the 7 instead of the 3.
I have a ton of respect for Dan Quinn.
And obviously he put the ball back into Blaine Gabbert's hands to close it out, and he gambled wrong. I'm sure there's a lot of Atlanta fans unhappy with that decision, and the outcome gives reason to that.
I have a ton of respect for Dan Quinn.
I liked how the 49ers defense played solid. Falcons running game went nowhere today, running for a total of 17 yards. I mean, Devontae Freeman touching the ball 12 times for only 12 yards. When you stop the Falcons run game, you force Matt Ryan to put the ball in the air. As Ray had said, he had Pro Bowl receivers to throw to, plus more, and yet their offense couldn't do enough to close out the game because the defense was struggling against that newfound 49ers offense.
Go to bed tonight and get up in the morning, and we got to get after it. We got to get some work done.
They held. I mean, Devontae Freeman came into the game as the number 1 running back in the NFL, and he only had 12 yards on 12 attempts. That as an average of 1 yard per carry. That is absolutely outstanding, and that is very reminiscent of the old 49ers rushing defense. Roddy White was held out. I mean, Julio Jones had 137 yards off 10 receptions, but no touchdown catches. And that's a key component, you know. Rudy, you said you wanted to mention something about the pass protection?
I wanted to talk about that offensive line. Let's talk about some of those changes that you have been clamoring for all season long.
Well, I think it's safe to say that benching a quarterback for another quarterback who really hadn't proven himself up to this point, yes, in one respect it's a shake-em-up move, but didn't necessarily seem completely warranted considering that the two offensive linemen that have really contributed to the offensive woes this year had not gotten benched, and they are statistically the two worst in the NFL. And finally, that actually call got answered this week as Jordan Devey took a seat back, although Eric Pierce, in my opinion, is way worse, for the much larger, much more athletic, much younger Trenton Brown, who we drafted this year. And
you've been talking about this all season. Why was he not in the game? Remember that? Yeah, this was Ray's big complaint all year.
You know, some say that Trent Brown is more suited for some so-called pundits say that Trent Brown's physical size is more attributed to a power run scheme versus a zone blocking scheme. And I don't know how technical or how even correct that is. The point is we saw him this week and he didn't allow a single sack. And the Niners offensive line as a whole didn't allow a single sack. And that was the first time they had done that since last year. So Trenton Brown clearly makes a difference.
Yes. So obviously I'm assuming we start Blaine Gabbert in 2 weeks against Seattle, yes?
We're going to prepare for Seattle. We're going to go up there and expect a victory.
You know, I think you give him another shot. He had a shot against a mediocre defense. Let's see what he does against a top 10 defense.
OMD?
You know, during the press conference, you heard it right here. The head coach, Tom Jim Sula, told the media after game that he wouldn't commit to Gabbert starting next week's game.
Gabbert was our starter today, and I don't have a comment past that. Okay?
Yeah, I think we start him again. I guess we keep starting him at this point. We just keep starting him and see what happens. It was sad to see Cap sit down, but it was very refreshing to see the 49ers come out with a win. That felt really good. I wanted to climb up the Transamerica building and wave a giant 49er flag from the big giant tip of the Transamerica building. I just wanted to wave it across the masses like a pirate, like Sourdough Sam mining for that gold at the tip of the Transamerica building, just doing it.
Hey, it's me, Sourdough Sam. Hey, Rudy, I don't mean to interrupt you, but hey, we got a lot of falcon birds here on the roaster ready to eat. If you guys want to come on by, we're here over at Bourbon's Pub, after party. Everybody's hanging out right now.
Okay.
I gotta go back to the kitchen. The grill's getting kind of hot. It's smoky out here. I think the falcon birds are getting a little toasty. I'll be right back, okay? Oh, 49ers!
Long absence.
A long absence from Sourdough Sam.
I'm only here for the win.
Oh, you know, I really did miss Sourdough Sam, and I really had thought about it recently that we really haven't heard. My assumption was that one of these teams we lost to, that their mascot had taken Sourdough and pierced his torso through the tip of the Transamerica building, and it was through his heart, and he was just laying up there in a bloody mess. But it's glad to see that he's okay.
Yeah, I thought he was dead too.
I thought he was dead. I'm glad to see he's okay, and he's roasting falcon birds at the 49er.
Yeah, I'm glad still too, because if it wasn't for him, I'd be long gone myself. You know, this Falcons game was significant. I thought it was a good primer for not only into the bye week, but against the Seattle Seahawks. Coach Dan Quinn, being the former defensive coordinator for the Seahawks, he implemented in that defense for those players, and he attempted to apply it into the Falcons defense. However, Blaine Gabbert performed well. He didn't have Anquan Bolden. He didn't have Carlos Hyde. There was no Vernon Davis. He committed 2 interceptions. There was no sacks against him against that heavy front seven. And he's working with a newly acquired running back. So a lot of positives for Blaine, building a confidence either way. It was a smart call to have Blaine start this game before the Seattle game.
Ray, do you agree with that? Do you think it was a smart call? Looking back now that we have a win?
It looks good on paper because of the win. The win doesn't – I mean, to be honest, with this defense, here's the thing. This is a similar type of defense that we've played. They're not as bad as Baltimore or the Vikings in week 1. However, this is a team that I could have just as easily saw Kaepernick be successful in as much as Blaine. Although Blaine has a quicker release, He's been a bit more accurate. We've seen some game. However, it's one game against a defense that is great against the run and poor against the pass. And even then, the passing game was not necessarily – clearly the game plan was to run the ball more than pass, or at least that's the way it seemed, even though we had an equal amount of first downs from passing plays as we did with running plays.
I know the way I play. My teammates know the way I play, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Maybe I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, they can say whatever they want.
All right. So we're going to get into a serious topic that I think needs to be addressed because it's pretty serious. We're going to get into Greg Hardy. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor.
Hey, Rudy.
Hey, old man Davis.
What do you listen to over there?
Oh, well, I was just, I don't know, trying to find a good
Stop
49ers podcast.
Stupid podcast. Get your ears on this podcast I got going on right now.
Which one?
A Goldcast. The 49ers Goldcast.
What?
You haven't heard the 49ers Goldcast?
No. Fill me in. What's this about?
When we need a fresh new perspective of the 49ers, we turn to the 49ers Goldcast. They are the only voice that truly represents the Bay Area fan perspective. Hosted by me, Old Man Davis, a.k.a. Al Davis, a.k.a. Silver and Black, as well as my good friend Raymond Solis and his brother Rudy Solis III. The 49ers Goldcast is considered by most to be the greatest fan podcast in history of fan podcasts. You can download the latest episodes of the 49ers Goldcast on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. Simply type in the 49ers Goldcast as one word. Be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/49ers Goldcast. Now back to the Goldcast.
All right, guys. So Friday, Deadspin put out this rather graphic article revealing the full police report. Apparently over 100 pages and pictures behind the Greg Hardy incident with his girlfriend. He was charged with some pretty serious domestic violence charges. He managed to, I think he was found guilty, but then they appealed, and then she disappeared. And apparently the rumor goes that she was paid off. I'm obviously not very close to the situation. I don't know for a fact. The pictures were pretty brutal. And I think that, again, this kind of speaks to some of the greater issues troubling the NFL and this domestic violence. And the thing about the NFL, I think, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. The thing about the NFL is that the NFL, the type of sport that football is, it's a very combative, physically aggressive sport, like similar to like boxing or UFC, that it's a very combative attack sport. There's a certain psyche that goes along with that. And unfortunately, I think it creates or it incites this kind of tendency in certain players. And I think this is why you see this happening. Not with everybody, but, obviously there's been some very high profile cases around domestic violence and incidents with football players. Greg Hardy put out that Twitter post.
He said, just had to say, I express my regret for what happened in the past, and I'm dedicated to being the best person and teammate that I can be. But mostly, I am grateful for the opportunity to play in the NFL, was his follow-up tweet.
I know.
But what's more important to me is that I'm still playing. I got away with it. That is crazy. Crazy balls.
Also, his Twitter account is called Kraken and Nightmares. God.
Is that for real?
Yeah, his Twitter account is called.
Oh, you're right.
Kraken, yeah, and Nightmares.
Wow.
And then his is at Overlord Kraken.
Oh my God, this guy's so fucked. He's got jail time written all over him.
So I'm going to start by saying he's the worst. I think he actually has no business in the league at all. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Greg Hardy. Old Man Davis, let's start with you.
When I look at a guy like Greg Hardy, in comparison to everything else that's gone on in the league with players like Ray Rice, Ray McDonald, and Adrian Peterson, and I see a talented football player who currently is on the Dallas Cowboys and playing well above anybody's expectations, and I think to myself, is there a way that we can separate personal, off-the-field transgressions, if we might call them that, with on-field play? Yes, the NFL, the sport of football, American football, is a violent sport. Does it condone violence against your fellow man or against women or children? No. However, what we're talking about right now is Greg Hardy. These domestic violence charges were, quote unquote, expunged, meaning they never existed. What we've been able to see as an audience is that Greg Hardy did not do anything. So, as unfortunate as that sounds, it is very real. Now, is he a bad man? It very well looks like it based on those images. What is the league gonna do about it? Jimmy doesn't have a problem with him playing. This league, not just the Dallas Cowboys, has a history of allowing players playing the game with shaky backgrounds. Greg Hardy is just one example of many that will continue to be allowed to play this game.
Yeah, but that
I'm
doesn't
not
make
saying
it right.
it's right. It's about the money.
I agree with that. It's about the money, and it's obviously about his playing, but that still doesn't. I don't think he should be allowed to play football. And
whether the courts could prove it or not is besides the point. The fact is, he did this.
Yeah,
and
that's a fact.
And his Twitter response is openly admits that.
And he was found guilty in the first trial. Just because they've expunged this doesn't mean that that's real. That's just a piece of paper saying it's expunged off his record.
If this guy was a teacher, he would have lost his job.
That's true. This is really about who does the sport play the game for? The fans. If the city of Dallas and all the many Cowboy fans that come watch the Cowboys play will stand up and say, we do not want Greg Hardy on our team.
Yeah, no one's saying that. Well, I don't know. A lot of people are saying it around the league, but I don't know.
How many Dallas Cowboy fans are picketing, boycotting the Dallas Cowboys outside of
Jerry World,
saying, do not start Greg Hardy. Bench Greg Hardy. They're not going to do that. You know why? Because Greg Hardy is a profile player. And that's the sad facts. So here on the Goldcast, we're not supporting or condoning anything that Greg Hardy does, but it's unfortunate we have to live with it.
Ray, what are your thoughts?
I think he's a piece of shit, and this is just another case where, there wasn't enough information on one end to really fully give this guy the punishment that he so rightfully deserved, and the fact that he is less sorry about what he did and more excited to have his $1 million career back is very telling of the type of character that this guy has.
I mean, this is a guy who just walked onto the field. We talked about this last week. He walked onto the field and just pushed a bunch of players and the coach of special teams. I get that, like, throwing your girlfriend onto a pile of guns is basically like a rite of passage in Texas, but God, Jerry Jones is the worst human ever. He's the worst. Not Hardy. He beats women. He beat a woman. He should have seen jail time for this. He should have seen punishment from the law. Like you mentioned, Old Man Davis, we don't support this on the Goldcast in any way, shape, or form. I hope none of the 49er faithful would support this in any way, shape, or form. And it just speaks to the greater issues in the NFL. And Roger Goodell drives me nuts. Talent shouldn't be that important. When you behave like this as a member of society, you are not being a productive member of society, and you need to be punished for it. You don't get to behave like a jack off and do a bunch of illegal things in America and then get away with it and keep your money. It happens all the time, I know, but that doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it any easier for me to swallow when I see it happening for the millionth time.
And I think it's important to at least address it and recognize it for what it is, and just at the very least, keep the awareness on that, because these guys, whether it's pro sports or your average Joe down the street, it's not okay to do this kind of shit and get away with it.
No, it's not. From any player.
Especially from a jackass like Greg Hardy.
All right, gentlemen, moving on. Final topic of the evening. So, on much lighter news, Jerry Rice and Mike Ditka were in a recent McDonald's commercial. In the commercial, they're promoting a new contest where you peel off the little ticket, and depending on what you get, you win prizes. The tickets have icons of the different football teams. In it, Ditka wins a little Packers ticket, and so he's wearing Packers gear and he's supporting it. Jerry Rice pulls a Dallas Cowboys ticket and he starts wearing Cowboys gear and he's backing it. Obviously, two fierce Jerry Rice, obviously synonymous with San Francisco football, greatest wide receiver of all time, greatest player ever to play the game, voted number 1 by NFL.com, blah, blah, blah. He is seen wearing the rival team of the 90s, Dallas Cowboys jersey. Mike Ditka obviously taking the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl in 85 is seen wearing their rival team, the Green Bay Packers gear. A lot of people were a little bothered by it. I was a little bothered by it. How is this supposed to make me want to buy McDonald's? I'm offended right now.
First of all, I don't even eat McDonald's anymore.
That's good.
But if I did have that inclination, I would certainly be turned off by what I saw on the commercial.
Yeah.
That's called marketing without class.
That's what that's called, right? Old man Davis, let me ask you a question. What jersey would the Raiders would you have to wear? What would they make? What would be the equivalent? What jersey? What for you?
I'd say if I were alive today and I'd have to do a McDonald's commercial to sell McDonald's products, hamburgers, fries, and Happy Meals, and all them toys and chicken salads, then I'm going to say number 80 of the San Francisco 49ers, as I pay homage to Jerry Rice in his appearance in a McDonald's commercial. The man didn't even have the decency to wear a real number on that Cowboys jersey he was wearing. Yeah. Who's 0-0?
Apparently Jerry Rice.
You should have worn Michael Irvin's jersey. That really would have stung it.
Oh, that would have been horrible.
It's kind of like a slap in the face.
It was I just didn't get it. I was like, this doesn't make me want to buy McDonald's at all.
It's like someone says, I'm taking you out to dinner, and then, or says, hey, come over, I'm going to make you a candlelight dinner. And then when I come over, there's like 2 Big Macs. I'm like, this is what you got? You know, it's like waking up and wanting like, oh man, I just want a really hearty breakfast. And then you find like you find like a McGriddle. It's like 2 pancake patties with like sausage and egg or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It sounds like a whole lot of heart attack. Kind of like this commercial.
It's like a girl looks at you and says, would you like a kiss? And you go, yeah. And you close your eyes and you pucker your lips, and then she slaps you in the face, and then she runs away laughing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
It's like putting on opening the Predator DVD and finding a Care Bears DVD inside, and the Predator DVD isn't there.
Yeah, or you go in to watch a VHS version of the original Star Wars films, and you realize that they've been taped over by Family Ties.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, I'd like a corn dog, please, and then they hand you a salad.
Exactly.
A kale salad.
Hey, a kale salad.
Kale chips.
Yeah.
Hi, I'd like to purchase that iPhone 6S, and then they hand you a T-Mobile Razr.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I would like the Samsung Galaxy S. I've heard that's a great phone. I'd love that. And then they give you a pager.
You bought tickets to Star Wars, the new Star Wars Force Awakens, Star Wars 7, and when you get to the theater, they're playing Phantom Menace.
God. That's terrible.
It's nobody's concern but ours. Nobody's. Next.
Mike, why are you in such a bad mood?
What do you care? Okay? You were 2-7, you'd be in a bad mood too.
Fair enough. But we're not talking about you, Dicka. We're talking about Jerry Rice.
That's right. The best in the game. Boom. Next week is a bye, so we will not obviously be going over the Vegas odds today, but next week we will begin our playoff prediction race.
That's right.
49er faithful, what we do is each of us will predict teams from the NFC and AFC that are guaranteed to not go to the playoffs and guaranteed to go to the playoffs. Last year, I'm still so proud of this, I made the prediction that the Philadelphia Eagles would not make the playoffs, and they were in first place in the NFC East. There is no way. They're going to lose 5 games. They lost 4 of the 5 games I predicted they would lose. Raymond, where can they find us?
You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/49ersGoldcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at 49ersGoldcast. You can also subscribe to us, which is the best way to stay on top of the latest and greatest of our podcasts as they release, including our new fan perspective videos, post-game fan perspective videos. Check them out. Follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube and also on Stitcher as well as iTunes. So we're on every platform. Should you have a particular preference, we are there.
Bam. Raymond, where can they find you?
You can find me typically in San Francisco, but on social media you can find me at Ray Solis on Twitter. You can also follow me on Instagram at Ray Solis1.
Follow me, I'll follow you back. Possibly.
Raymond can never fully guarantee that. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Rudy Solis III. You can see my name the way it's spelled, 3RD at the end. You can see it on iTunes and Stitcher. You can see my name on there. So if you can't figure out how to spell it, Rudy Solis III. Go look it up, spell it, follow me. I will follow you back. Raymond is a cold-hearted bastard and may not follow you, but me, I'm a nice guy. I'll follow you back. All right. Oh man, Davis, where can they find you? Oh, hold on, but I say cold-hearted bastard with all the love. I love my brother. Only I can say that. You guys can't say that. Oh man, Davis, where can they find you?
Hey, how about them Raiders, man? About time. Waiting for them to come off their high horse. Their defense is just shit.
Although I did not win, as I predicted against the Steelers, I will be at home, O.Co Coliseum, as we prepare for the Minnesota Vikings and take the win for this one. I will be sure in place, ready to take another W, silver and black on the red and gold.
So concludes another edition of the 49er Goldcast. We are the Bay Area Fan Perspective. I'm your host, Rudy Solis III, and with me is my brother and my co-host,
Raymond Solis the First, baby.
And our esteemed co-host,
man Davis.
Boom! We'll see you next time. Same Goldcast time, same Goldcast channel.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
I got that damn Bruno Mars song stuck in my head.
I think his music sucks.
Oh, I don't mind them at all. Fun, stupid pop songs. Ugh.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey, I've got a gun. Let's go to a Broadway show. What the hell is going on?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
And we still got some more Falconberg here for you if you still want it, right?